So let's talk about the responsibilities of a builder for someone who wants to be a leader, someone who wants to really kind of take the lid off their business and take advantage of the second way of creating income, which is building an agency. Okay. So the agenda we're going to cover is we're going to talk about the basics of being a builder. And this is a little bit of, it's not going to get too much in the mechanics of it as much as responsibilities, more of, the role that you take on. It's almost like, being a parent, there's no manual that comes out when your baby's born. There's a lot of books out there, but there's no manual per se. Um, and this is the same as being a builder. So I'm going to kind of cover those kind of responsibilities when you decide to, take someone under your wing and show them this business opportunity, and then you're trying to help them, progress. Okay. And then the second part, we're going to talk about how to effectively communicate with people, because whether you're building the business or you're selling, this part is super important. And there's an aspect to this that I'm going to get into. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm going to introduce a self-improvement model that I think that we can really leverage in the future to dig down and help you get rid of self-imposed limitations. Okay. So let's cover the builder basics. So the basics of being a builder. So what is the purpose of building a business? Well, first, you build your team to create outlets, meaning getting agents out there that can sell life insurance, and then creating volume with those agents, and then creating duplication where the number of outlets, agents, are reproduced beyond just you doing it yourself. Okay. And that's how you build a long-term business. That's how you build income coming in. That's how you build stability in your 100% commission role, right? And that's probably one of the hardest things for agents to get used to is 100% commission, because their income varies. Well, building a team will smooth your income out like crazy, in just such a important way. It's probably the best way I can put it. So let me kind of give you a pictorial on what this looks like. So there's you, and then you're building agents. You're creating your agency. You bring 4 people direct to you, and then those 4 people find some other people who find some other people, and you're building your network. We call this outlets. Okay, this is kind of the idea of a McDonald's model where you're creating outlets of volume that can run through your business. Now, how do you create volume? Well, first, you got to inject leads into your organization. So all the different type of lead program, so that they can produce insurance, right? They protect families from the lead program. And then by you injecting leads in, and they inject leads into their business and protect families, this is how you create the override income, right? And this is how you create a sustainable business income that'll go beyond you, certainly, your ability to create income. And by bringing on other outlets, it goes beyond just you. And this is where you get into the crazy income, crazy income. So this is really why anyone would want to build a business like ours. So when you take on the responsibilities of building a business, really you're stepping into a true leadership role, right? And what's great about this business is that it's a leadership role not based on position, not based on an org chart. It's really based on an all volunteer army. So in my opinion, this is where you can truly be a leader. This is how you can measure true leadership, is how many people follow you in 100% commission opportunity into this business, and how you lead them towards their personal success so that you can create a successful business, a sustainable agency that will keep paying you month after month, year after year, decade after decade, and money that will be there for your children's children, right? So let's kind of cover this at a really top level. One of the most important things a leader needs to have is clear vision. And that's really a clear vision of what you want in the business, what you want out of the business, and what you stand for personally. Who are you? Who are you that people can believe in? What are you going for that will incite commitment from people to want to do the same thing for their families? You know, a person without vision shall what? Perish, right? It's biblical. But the more clarity you have in your vision of what you're trying to accomplish, the more that you're going to attract people to you because of your certainty, right? The certainty of where you're going, right? And I'll get into this a little bit later, but you know, people that are scattered out there, you know, they're doing this and they're doing that, they're doing a bunch of different things. It doesn't seem like they have any clarity of their vision, and they're hard to follow, and they don't inspire you to follow them, right? So a leader has to have a super clear vision of where they're going, what they want to accomplish, and who they are, and what they need to be for their people, right? A leader needs to have, as I mentioned, clarity of vision. The clarity of vision will drive the process of creating the behavior patterns within you that will drive the success that you're looking for. If you don't have this clarity, you're not going to be able to create the link between your vision and the behaviors, the habits, the processes that will take you there. So the clarity is super important. Proper alignment. Proper alignment will inspire others. And I'm just setting you up for the model that I'm going to show you at the end. But you know, people that are super congruent, right? They know what they want, they know what they're doing to get there. And it's easy to follow someone like that because they're totally in alignment with their values, their beliefs, their purpose, their value systems behind the purpose, and their behaviors, right? That will affect their environment, that will affect where they will create their world. You know, I'm sure you've known people that are so focused that they create their own world. Doesn't matter if there's a recession, doesn't matter if unemployment's going up or down, whatever. They don't let outside influences or outside circumstances affect where they're going. They create their own world. And you can only do that when you have proper alignment in your life, because then you have clear vision, you have a vision and it's super clear to you, and you have alignment up and down who you are and what you're doing and how you're doing it. It will change the world for you, right? And it will inspire others, because you can't be successful in our business. It takes other people to be successful. Okay. You can be successful by yourself, but that's just selling life insurance. Building an agency, a sustainable business for the long term, you have to enlist other people, which means you have to be a leader, right? And you have to inspire people to action. You have to be responsible for being the proper example by living as the example that you want to be for your people, right? So if you're wishy-washy on calling your leads and doing what you need to do for your business, how do you expect your people to be? Right? They'll find you out and they'll have zero respect for you. And how can you be a leader? I mean, you tell me what leader has a group following them that the group doesn't respect them at all. Can you name one? Right? And of all volunteer army, you probably cannot. You know, that's that idea of being congruent up and down, you know, where what you say, what you do speak so loudly that what you say, no one can hear, right? Like I said, I'll get to that part. But these are ways to be a responsible leader. Finally, not finally, but another aspect is coming at it as a servant with a servant mentality, that you're there to serve your team. You know, people look at leadership as the person is a leader at the top of the pyramid, when in fact it's an inverse pyramid. You know, you're at the bottom of the pyramid and it's backward, it's upside down, where it's like a V shape, and you're the one that's supporting the entire team because, as I mentioned, because of your clarity of vision, who you are and what you want to accomplish, right? The whole team can rest on your shoulders because you know who you are and what you're looking to accomplish, your mission, and how you're going to serve people. So here's kind of the opposite. So let's kind of teach from the opposite angle. What's a casual leader? Well, let's define a casual leader. A casual leader is not really a leader, right? A casual leader is someone who's casual about their attitude and mentality, right? Everything's okay. It's loosey goosey. It's when you want your people to do what you're doing, you're talking about it with moral authority, right? You can talk about it because you're doing it. And you're not casual about that it's okay for people that are trying to for a goal. It's okay for them to not do all the things required of them, right? Because you'd be hurting them by not telling them truly what they're doing is not working, and then advising them on what they need to do. Now, it's up to them to do it, but you'd be really doing them a disservice if you don't communicate really what they ought to do to become successful, right? And there's people's skill ways of doing it, so you're not hurting their feelings, but then you do have to toe the line on being super clear on what their current casual attitude and mentality is going to get them, right? They're casual about pre-planning and disciplining each day, right? They don't know what they're going to do tomorrow until they get up in the morning, and then they decide when they get up. I'm telling you what, you live your life where you just are trying to figure out from day to day, man, you are losing the battle. And if you're looking at why you are where you are today, it's because you keep doing the same things all the time, right? This business takes knowing where you're going to be, knowing what you're going to do before you wake up in the morning, right? Casual leaders are casual in personal study and self-improvement programs. It's like, I should be reading a book. Oh, I wonder what book I should read. Let's try this one, right? Instead of checking with your upline and asking them, hey, I really want to improve myself in this. You have a book recommendation, and they'll be able to tell you. Now, the books you need to read right away are The 8 Steps to Success by Andy Albright. That's the number one book you need to read right now. And then after that book, there's a bunch of other ones. Millionaire Maker Manual is an important one, especially if you're building a team. So you got to at least get through those two books. And then Inside the Circle is another important book by Andy Albright. And that's the one that will get your mind right on knowing what you can control and what you cannot control. Okay. Casual leaders are casual in the dress standards. Look, you represent your company everywhere you go. So if you're like wearing ripped jeans and, and a beat up t-shirt, you're out of business, in my opinion, right? You got to look respectable that people can believe that you own a multi-million-dollar business. And you do. You own it before it becomes one, but you're part of the alliance. The alliance is a multi-million-dollar mega business, and you're a part of it. You represent it. So dress as such, right? You don't have to go around wearing a suit, but look clean, right? Shave. Look like when you find someone sharp, when you tell them, hey, we're looking to hire some people in this area in financial services. You seem pretty sharp to me. Are you open-minded at other opportunities that you can start on a part-time basis? You got to come off looking like you are someone that's a business owner that backs up what you say you are by how they see you, right? This is super important. This is a self-image issue. Casual leaders are casual about their accountability programs. Well, as you can tell, we are hardcore on the weekly activity reports, right? We're hardcore on attending Zoom calls, and I'm preaching to the choir because y'all are on this call, right? So that's important, is not being casual in accountability programs. Casual leaders are casual in their coachability. That like they don't really care. Casual people are just, they think they know it all anyway, which is a big ego problem. And that's going to kill them. And this is why they're broke all the time. Ego, pride and ego. Casual leaders are casual in their communication. They communicate whenever they want to, but they don't communicate because they need to. Everyone needs to communicate early and often with their upline to make sure they're on track doing what they're doing. Casual leaders are casual in their example. Personal recruits, points towards the builder contest, right? Casual leaders are casual in their compliance matters, okay? Making sure your CE is up to date, not crashing it at the last minute where you all of a sudden you have a gap in your CE and you can't write business, right? Your compliance, all your, everything's checked off. If you're AHIP, you got your AHIP certification if you're doing Medicare, right? That you plan for, you're not doing it last minute, okay? Casual in handling personal and business finances. Oh my gosh. This is a problem. If you're not planning your taxes, pre-planning your taxes and paying your quarterly estimates, and you need a CPA. You need to hire someone so that they can advise you on everything that you're doing right and wrong. Okay. They you just need to do it. Okay. So let's talk about what you're looking for when you're building a team, or who you're looking for. You're looking for people that want to make money. Okay. You have to be careful of the desperate people. Be careful of those that are desperate, because desperate people will compromise their integrity. Desperate people will blame everything on you. This is why we always recommend keep your job until you can ramp this up on the side. If you're under financial pressure and you don't have a job, get a job. Get a no-brainer job that's bringing money in so you can do this without financial pressure, right? That's so you're looking for people that want to make money, and you are looking for people that have the ability to do this on the side without, you know, financial pressure. Okay. But they want to make money. They got a desire. They're money motivated for all kinds of reasons. They're not looking at just an extra hobby to keep them busy. You know what I mean? These are the kind of people you're looking for. You're looking for people that want their freedom and their independence, man. People that want to be free from financial worry and fear. People that want to be out from under the thumb of a boss. People that want to exit the corporate system of kissing butt, and they need and want to be on their own. That's who you're looking for. You look for people that want to be in a system. They realize the power of process, the power of a system, and they want to learn how to operate it properly so that they can duplicate exactly what successful people are doing. And then when they bring people on, they incite in them the desire to also operate the system in a very duplicatable way. You're looking for people that will listen to you and then do what they're supposed to be doing, right? They need to listen to you and they will do what you recommend without even questioning. It's okay to question, but these people just, and then the true mark of a leader when they become leaders is they do things without you telling them. Ultimately, that's someone who becomes a leader, right? But people that will listen to you and do what you recommend they do, again, another trait. We're looking for people, the people you're looking for are people that understand investment return, that you got to invest money to make money. You got to pony up in order to get a big return on the back end. It's this whole investment return mentality, which is a business ownership mentality. Next, you're looking for people that like working within a team environment. Now sales is a lonely business because it's just you against the world, right? But we're looking for people that want to come back to a team to get association, to learn how to do the right things right by getting around the people that are doing the right things. They want to work within the team. They feel compelled to perform for the team, beyond just themselves. Of course, they're going to work for themselves, but they also have this strong sense of being part of a team and wanting to perform as a team member, right? And you're looking for people that are competitive, Like they just don't want to be beat by someone else, right? They're just looking to move up the leaderboard. They like their goals and they like winning. Okay. That's what we're looking for. We are looking for people that want to work on themselves to be better. People that know that they will never become what God truly made them to be unless they work on themselves to get there. And it doesn't happen by osmosis. Part of it happens by association, but another part is an active pursuit of mentors, active pursuit of getting around the people at events, active pursuit of reading books, active pursuit of listening to podcasts, active pursuit of watching leadership videos of people that are successful in this business, right? You look for people that want to work on themselves. They know that they're always in a constant and never ending improvement program. And then this is probably to me one of the most foundational values of people that you're looking for is you're looking for people that are grateful, people that have this strong sense of gratitude. So when you fly out of town into their city, they totally appreciate you. How do they do that? By filling up the room with prospects that you can help them build their business with, by respecting your time, by asking questions and digging in and trying to get around you to learn, right? And they're grateful. They just don't, they're not expecting you to spend any money, because the trip is about $1,000, right? And so when I pop off to a city, I'm dropping $1,000 like that without even thinking about it, right? And if I'm in two cities, that's a couple thousand, it, but the people I'm serving, the people that we want are the ones that will absolutely show a sense of gratitude, not only by what they say, but what they do. Okay. And then this is the bonus, people that have a faith life. Because I'm telling you what, gang, I don't know how people without faith can handle the negatives of the business, because faith will get you through the tough stuff to get to the other side when things start to get good, right? If you're constantly living in this fear mode, you're not going to make it in this business. You have to have faith. Faith will conquer fear. Okay. Fear's okay, but work ethic will conquer fear, which will give you the faith that what you're doing is going to put you on the right track. So that's what you're looking for. So here's what you need to be prepared to do as an upline, as someone who's building the business. Number one, you got to get your recruits started right. And this is LWAC and LLC. So this is the listen, work, associate, and change. Okay, I've got videos on how to do this. In fact, recent videos on how to get your recruits started right. You got to explain to them the LWAC and then explain to them license, list, and conference. Okay, I'm not going to go into that here, but you have to be so solid that you put these things in place for every person you bring on board. If you don't know how to explain LWAC and LLC, just a few weeks ago, I put this out there and I went into it in depth. So by watching that video, you'll learn how to do it, but you need to process everyone the same. Okay. If you're not doing it, you're blowing it. I'm telling you, you are totally blowing it, right? This is how you get duplication going. You got to get your new recruit reading. Which book? 8 Steps to Success. I don't care if you have to buy it for them and send it to them, or you send them the link on how to order it. You need to promote that they need to read this book first. And then in that book is a whole list of books that they can read after they're done with the 8 Steps to Success. Get them to write a policy on themselves as soon as they're licensed. Have them see how the commissioning works. Help them, walk them through an electronic application. Good cook eats their own cooking. This is how you get your people to eat their own cooking, right? Because then what it starts the process of is the process of alignment, the moral authority, where everything they're doing is congruent. So when they sell insurance, when they bring on other agents, that they're totally congruent with what they're doing. So writing a policy themselves is super mega important. Do you even have your own policy, right? From one of our carriers. Okay. Get them to the next live meeting or the next Zoom meeting. They have to know what they need to plug into next, right? So if the next meeting is the TWC, the Wednesday call with Andy Albright, I'd say, hey man, we got this thing called the TWC, the Wednesday call tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern time. Is there any way you can be on that call? It's a Zoom call. You're going to hear from some of the top people. They're going to give you some tremendous nuggets of wisdom. You know, I think you need to be there. You need to get into the culture and learn what people are learning to be successful. You need to promote it, right? Or if there's a hotspot meeting close by them, I don't care if they're driving an hour, 2 hours, get them there. Tell them that it's important for them, whether they have the license or not, to get around the agents because they need to believe, right? They need to believe. They need to build their belief up. Create a calendar with them. So getting started out, they don't know what to do. So what you need to do is help them plan their calendar on what they need to do, right? Based on their work schedule, based on how much money they want to make, based on all the Zoom training calls that they need to be on. This is your ability to help them put the important stuff in their calendar. And then maybe they have to quit, one of the 3 Bible studies they're in, right? But it'll help you help them prioritize. Help them up the ladder of the belief. What are we talking about, ladder of belief? Belief is everything in the business. You'll never be successful unless you believe. You'll never recruit anyone unless you believe in what you're doing and in the business. I promise you will not sell. You won't be effective selling unless you believe what you're selling. You believe in what you're selling and you believe in the process that you're using to make sales. And so the ladder of belief for the new person is number one, they got to believe in the alliance system, right? They got to believe that our system works, that the leaderboards are legit, and that by plugging into it, by doing the things that we recommend, they will be successful too. So that's the first rung on the ladder is in the system and in the alliance. The second rung is in Andy Albright, that he's, running the company and he's doing everything properly for us to make money. He's creating the proper environment, the proper training opportunities, the Zoom calls, the lead systems and programs, President's Club, all the training systems, all the video. He created the system. And so it's important for you to edify Andy as the leader of our company. So you got to believe in Andy Albright. The next rung on the ladder is you got to believe that you're going to help them, right? They got to believe that you and the system and the up line is going to help them. Our staff, everyone, we're going to surround them with help. But look, some of you, I've had people say, this person cannot help me. I know he cannot help me. I don't want to be under him anymore. And I'm like, what can I say to that? He doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. Oh my gosh. I, I don't know what to say to that, right? You got to have them believe that you are going to help them. You're going to be able to help them, or you know the people that can help them, right? They got to believe in you, that you can help them. And then the last rung on the ladder of belief is belief in themselves that they can actually do this business and achieve their financial goals. So that's your job to help move them up the ladder of belief. All right. Next, be edifying of everything. Edify your upline, right? Your upline your growing upline, the ones that's actually doing everything that you are doing. If you've got someone above you that's not doing anything, don't even talk about that person. Talk about the next person. Now don't talk bad about the person. Just don't talk about them. Talk about the next person that's worthy of edifying, right? And you don't edify them as like, oh, he's a good guy. I mean, that's okay. Edify the things they've done. Built a huge business. He's plugging into everything. I see him at all the events, right? You're edifying the things that they're doing. And he's helped me. She's helped me with a ton of things. All my questions are answered. All these things that you want your recruit to believe in their upline, right? So you want to edify your upline. You want to edify downline. You want to edify the things that people are doing properly that you're excited about, because that the uh, gives you the power to emphasize the things that are the right things to do and de-emphasize things that are not the right things to do. Okay. Edify your cross line. People that are building the business, people that are selling, people that are successful, edify them, right? Never talk bad about anybody, anytime, anywhere. Okay. Edify the system, edify Andy Albright. And you know, what is edification? Edification is providing value to something or someone by talking good about it, by describing it and how it's helped you, whether it's a system, whether it's the leads, whether it's a training, whether it's a person, how they've helped you become successful. And then, gang, it's super important to get them their first win quick. I think their first win is writing a policy on themselves so they can see the commissions coming through on their own policy, right? Writing policies on their family, writing policies on their friends. Try to get them so they're getting a paycheck sooner than later, right? Help them get their first win quick, because that will aid them to move up the ladder of belief.